In a quaint Korean village nestled amidst rolling hills, a mysterious newcomer takes up residence and secures employment at the community's humble pharmacy. Almost immediately following his arrival, an unsettling pattern emerges. Residents start disappearing without a trace, sending shockwaves of fear and suspicion through the tight-knit community. As the disappearances escalate, the local authorities dispatch 2 seasoned detectives to unravel the enigma gripping the town. With a meticulous approach, they comb through every nook and cranny, conducting exhaustive interviews with townsfolk in a quest for any shred of evidence. When their investigation leads them to the doorstep of the new pharmacist, a disquieting aura envelops one of the detectives, sensing an uncanny warmth exuding from the otherwise amiable pharmacist. Despite the skepticism of his partner, who sees nothing amiss in the pharmacist's affable demeanor, the discerning detective resolves to tail him after his shift, driven by an instinct that refuses to be ignored. As dusk descends upon the tranquil town, the 2 detectives return, their unmarked car nestled discreetly in the shadows, as they patiently await the pharmacist's departure from work. At the stroke of 9 p.m., the pharmacist bids farewell to the cashier, locking up the pharmacy with a subtle click before embarking on his solitary journey homeward. With a blend of caution and determination, the detectives stealthily tail him, maintaining a calculated distance to evade detection, their eyes keenly fixed on his every move. As the night wears on, the detectives observe the pharmacist's silhouette disappearing into the depths of his residence, nestled within the eerie confines of a dimly lit, desolate street. Maintaining their vigil from a discreet vantage point, they patiently wait, their senses attuned to any sign of suspicious activity. Yet after a tense interlude fraught with anticipation, their watch yields no tangible evidence, prompting them to reluctantly retreat, their hopes of uncovering the truth momentarily thwarted by the shroud of darkness enveloping the scene. As the sun rises on the somber aftermath of yet another disappearance, the detective who harbored suspicions about the pharmacist from the previous night's stakeout confides in his partner once more, his resolve strengthened by the urgency of the situation. Expressing a fervent determination to shadow the pharmacist once more, this time with an extended surveillance strategy that spans the entirety of the night, he implores his skeptical colleague to join him. Despite the other detective's steadfast conviction in the pharmacist's innocence, he acquiesces to his partner's request, propelled by a sense of duty and the lingering specter of uncertainty that hangs over the town like a shroud. Under the cloak of night, the detectives maintain their vigil outside the pharmacist's residence, their senses attuned to every rustle and whisper in the darkness. As the hours trickle by, fatigue begins to weigh heavy upon the shoulders of the detective who harbors doubts about the pharmacist's guilt, his eyelids growing heavy with the weight of exhaustion until he succumbs to slumber. Meanwhile, his vigilant partner remains steadfast, eyes trained on the pharmacist's home like a sentinel in the night. In the hush of the pre-dawn hours, a subtle stir rouses the awake detective from his solitary watch. With a sharp intake of breath, he discerns the figure of the pharmacist emerging from his dwelling, stealthily slipping into the embrace of the nocturnal realm. Swift to react, the vigilant detective gently shakes his slumbering partner from his repose, urgency flickering in his eyes as he gestures toward the unfolding scene. With bated breath, they observe as the pharmacist converges with a waiting taxi at the nearby corner, his clandestine rendezvous casting a pall of suspicion over their already troubled investigation. With cautious determination, the detectives shadow the cab as it winds its way through the labyrinthine streets, their hearts pounding with anticipation as they ponder the enigma unfolding before them. Eventually, the taxi comes to a halt by the tranquil banks of a meandering river, casting eerie reflections in the stillness of the night. Suspended in a tense silence, the detectives observe with rapt attention, their senses heightened as they await the next turn of events. Suddenly, the cab begins to tremble violently, sending tremors of uncertainty through the detectives' ranks. Perplexed by the inexplicable occurrence, they exchange bewildered glances, their minds racing to decipher the meaning behind this unsettling spectacle. Time seems to stretch as they maintain their steadfast watch, their apprehension mounting with each passing moment. Then, as if guided by an unseen hand, the taxi gradually eases back onto the road, departing from the riverside sanctuary with an air of mystery shrouding its departure. Bewildered, yet undeterred, the detectives exchange a silent vow to pursue this puzzling lead with unwavering resolve, determined to unravel the tangled web of secrets lurking beneath the surface of their seemingly tranquil town. With bated breath, the detectives trail the taxi as it retraces its path, winding through the labyrinthine streets until it finally returns to the pharmacist's residence. Time stretches agonizingly as they watch, their nerves taut with anticipation, until at last, the taxi comes to a halt with a subdued sigh of relief. In the dim glow of streetlights, they witness the pharmacist emerging from the driver's side, a shadowy figure against the backdrop of the night. With deliberate movements, he retrieves a set of keys, unlocking an inconspicuous underground shed concealed beside his dwelling. Their hearts quicken as they witness the clandestine unveiling of this hidden chamber, its secrets veiled in the cloak of darkness. Their breath catches in their throats as the pharmacist's actions take a sinister turn. With chilling precision, he wrenches open the taxi's passenger door, dragging forth the hapless figure of the taxi driver, his form limp and lifeless in the pharmacist's grasp. A shiver runs down the detectives' spines as they bear witness to this macabre tableau, the veil of innocence torn asunder to reveal the grim truth lurking beneath the facade of their tranquil town. With adrenaline coursing through their veins, the detectives surge forward, their weapons poised for confrontation as they approach the sinister shed. Each step echoes like a drumbeat in the tense silence, anticipation mingling with dread as they brace themselves for the horrors lurking within. As they cross the threshold into the dimly lit interior, a wave of revulsion washes over them at the sight that unfolds before their eyes. Rows upon rows of lifeless forms line the cramped confines of the shed, some eerily preserved in a macabre state of suspended animation, while others lie desiccated, drained of every last drop of vitality. The air hangs heavy with the stench of decay, a grim testament to the horrors concealed within these walls. Their minds reel with disbelief and horror as they grapple with the magnitude of the atrocities before them, the grim reality of the pharmacist's nefarious deeds laid bare in the harsh glare of truth. With grim determination, they steel themselves for the task ahead, resolved to bring an end to this reign of terror and deliver justice to the countless souls whose lives have been cruelly snuffed out by the hand of evil. As the detectives reel from the harrowing sight before them, a chilling revelation unfolds in the dim light of the shed. With a sinister twist of fate, the pharmacist's facade crumbles, revealing the true horror lurking beneath. A vampire, his fangs gleaming ominously in the murky shadows. Panic courses through the detectives' veins as they confront the monstrous truth, their weapons trained on the vampire's figure as they demand his surrender. With an eerie calm, the pharmacist complies, raising his hands in a gesture of feigned submission. But before they can react, darkness descends like a shroud, enveloping them in a suffocating embrace. In the deafening silence that follows, the air resonates with the desperate cries of the detectives, their voices drowned out by the sound of the shed door slamming shut with a final, ominous clang. Left in the chilling embrace of the unknown, the fate of the detectives hangs precariously in the balance, their struggle against the forces of darkness far from over. In the chilling denouement of the tale, a mother and her son navigate the aisles of the pharmacy, the air thick with the scent of antiseptic and ancient secrets. As they conclude their visit, the young boy casts a curious glance over his shoulder, his gaze meeting that of the pharmacist behind the counter. In that fleeting moment, a shiver courses down the boy's spine as he locks eyes with the pharmacist, his smile twisted into a malevolent grin that sends a shudder of dread through the boy's soul. The air seems to crackle with an unspoken threat as they hastily make their exit, leaving behind the haunting memory of that sinister smile etched into the depths of their consciousness. Unknown to them, the veil of normalcy that cloaks the quaint facade of the pharmacy masks a darkness far more sinister than they could ever imagine.